Good morning and welcome to Rose Red Homestead. We are so pleased to have you join us on our videos. We absolutely love our community, which is growing, and we're just very pleased about that as well. And we want to welcome all brand new subscribers, and we're getting a lot of them. So we're so grateful to have you along, and we just want you to know that our community is stellar. We're very kind, we are appreciative of comments, and we are very helpful toward one another. So this is a place where we can all learn together. And our 3 pillars of focus include emergency preparedness, food security, and self-reliance. Now, for the past couple of months, we have been working on a series of make and freeze meals. And this goes directly to our theme that we have been emphasizing now for a year, at least a year, in leveling up our food storage. And our focus this year has been on level 1. And level 1 is the integration of our refrigerator, freezer, and pantry to hold meals and ingredients that we can make at the drop of a hat. If everything shuts down, we have no opportunity to go to the store or get anything. We have ingredients and meals prepared at that level for 60 days. And so that's what the make and freeze meals are focused on, is to get complete meals into the freezer, which requires some freezer space. And our freezer space is quite limited. We're working on getting more freezer space through better organization of the space that we do have. So I'll be talking about that a little bit as well. But I thought what might be very useful is for us to revisit the first 6 of our make and freeze meals. We have 7 out there. We just published our 7th this week, last week maybe. And we have the recipes up on our website. They are make and freeze meal prep, I think is the title of the document. Just go to our website and click on recipes and scroll down and you can find it. So I wanted to report in our videos, we show how to make the meal, whatever it is. And then we either show or talk about how we are going to package it. And our focus so far has been on packaging in Ziploc baggies, because that fits best our freezer organization. So I'm going to go through the first 6 meals because these are the ones that we have frozen, and then over the past few weeks we have gone to the freezer, picked one of those meals out, brought it in, thawed it, and heated it up for a meal. And so I want to give you now the backside report of how it is to have frozen, thawed, and eaten these meals. So our first meal ever was cilantro lime chicken. And we published this one the first week in July. And of course you can see the layers of ingredients right here. And then on the back is a plastic baggie of lime juice that has been frozen inside this quart bag. Now what we discovered with this, and it's cold, it's still frozen, so I'm going to put it back down. What we discovered with that particular meal was these are all raw ingredients. It is not pre-cooked. So we have packaged up the raw ingredients. Now for all of these, the safest way to thaw is in your refrigerator overnight. And so that's what we recommend doing. So once this is thawed, then it goes into the slow cooker, and you can cook it on slow for 6 or 8 hours or on high for, I think, about 3 or 4 hours, and you have a meal. So on the day of the video, we did that. We cooked one of these packets, and then we learned that it was, of course, if you look at this amount of food, and knowing that there's just 2 of us in our household, this is much more than one meal for us. And so what we did was we cooked up a packet of this, and then we took half of it and ate that for dinner that night. The other half we put back in a Ziploc bag and froze it as a cooked meal. Now that cooked meal we have already thawed and eaten, and it was fantastic. We just loved it. And so this is going to be tonight's dinner. Once it thaws, then we will put that right in the crock pot, the slow cooker, and cook it for 3 or 4 hours. And once again, we will have a meal for tonight, and then we will have another meal that we can put back in a gallon baggie and freeze a cooked meal. So it goes from raw to cooked. And what we discovered was that we could have, I think, 6 meals from that one recipe for the 2 of us. So that has worked out very, very well. We still have 1 more of these bags in our freezer, which will give us 2 meals. So that's working well for us. The next one we did was meatloaf muffins. And I decided to freeze them in 4s like this for the small size. We did a larger size and a small size. And I talked about how much I love meatloaf sandwiches. So and this is the last of our meatloaf because we've eaten all of the rest. And to freeze them and then thaw them has worked out just great. But we have not used these for a dinner meal because what I do is use these for sandwiches because I just love them. And this will make, this makes 3 sandwiches. And so we usually have one for lunch. And then if Jim has to go on errands, I eat the last one while he's gone on errands because he usually picks up a burrito at one of the places where he stops. So these have worked really, really well. Going forward, I think what we will do is freeze those in the large muffin cups, and maybe I will pack more so that we can have an evening meal plus some leftovers enough for sandwiches. But that also has worked really well. The third meal that we did was chicken primavera. And oh my gosh, is this ever a delicious recipe. Here it is from the backside. You can probably see the ingredients. It has zucchini, squash, it has tomatoes, it has a cream sauce. And we took one of these frozen packets with us. Look how compact this is. We just put one of these in the freezer of our trailer on our last trip. So we thawed this in our trailer and just heated it up on the top of the stove inside the trailer. And my gosh, it was one of the best trailer meals we have ever had. So this freezes really well and thaws and cooks up great. The fourth meal that we did was, I think we called it loaded burritos. And I packed them 1 burrito per quart-size baggie. And this is one of our favorites. Now, in that video, I mentioned that I didn't really care for burritos very much, but I tend to quite like these. They thaw, and then we just warm these in the microwave. Most of these things we heat up in the microwave or on the top of the stove. It just sort of depends what it is. You can use your best judgment how you want to heat it up. If you don't have a microwave or don't like using a microwave, then you can steam something like this over on the stove top. You don't want to boil it or anything, but you could heat it in the oven as well, or even in an air fryer you could do that. So you can just experiment to see. But these also went with us in our trailer. And what has happened with these is that this is quite, and I should turn it this way so you can see the back side a little bit better. This is too much food for me. Usually we use these for lunch, sometimes for dinner. And so I thaw 2 of these. Jim eats 1 whole one, and then I will eat maybe a half or 3/4 of one, and then he finishes off the rest. So he's happy and I'm happy. And so I'll be repeating this meal. So far, I'm going to be repeating all of these meals because they have worked so great. When we run out of these, I'm going to do another recipe. Now this is the lasagna roll-ups. And they are layered this way, 1, 2, 3. And when I thaw these, they're a mess getting out of this bag. Jim eats 2 and I eat 1. And of course, next time, if you watch that video, you know I stacked them up like this and put the cheese on the top. Next time, of course, I'm going to lay them down in the pan as I state in the recipe, if you've followed the recipe. But these also went with us on one of our trailer trips. They thawed, and I just warmed them in the microwave in our trailer, and they turned out just great. But the one thing that I'm going to do next time with anything that is really messy getting out of the bag, I have just purchased a stack of 2 sizes of foil pans with lids. This size, and these have little foil lids. So I'm going to try these, especially for any meals that might need to go into the oven. Less mess and more economical to just use the same pan for freezing as I do for baking. So we'll see how that goes. Our 6th one that we did was a green chili tortilla bake. Oh, this is so good. And I just froze this in serving size squares. And this comes out of the bag just fine because there's plenty of room once it's thawed. And then we just thaw these and heat them in the microwave. We had these the other night for the first time, and they are also a keeper. We really do love these. So this is a report on our official make and freeze meals. But recently we've also done some other things where I've said in the video that we are going to freeze the leftovers. When we did our last Marvelous Bean video, we're still working on that series as well. Until the end of the year, we'll still do 2 or 3 more on our Marvelous Bean series. For the kidney bean family, we made a couple of recipes, Louisiana red beans and rice. And notice how I have packaged the rice inside a baggie and then frozen it along with the beans inside a gallon bag. And this one is the one that had the andouille sausage that was instrumental in pointing us in the direction of making our own sausage. And we've just recently published a video on making that andouille sausage. So we will definitely be using some of our own andouille sausage next time we do the Louisiana red beans and rice. We thawed this one probably a couple of weeks ago. When I made that big batch, we had one the night of the video, and then I bagged up the leftovers into 2 bags just like this, which gave us an additional 2 meals. This is the last one we have. We did one a couple of weeks ago, and it was just as good as it was when we first made it. And we're looking forward to, after we eat this one, to make another batch with our own homemade sausage. And then this recipe was beans and pasta. And this also turned out very nice. I froze 2 of these, and this is enough for us to have a lunch meal probably. And so this is the last one of these as well. Oh, this one is thawing. I need to get that back in the freezer. And so, so far so good on the meals that we have frozen. I have been quite pleased with how things like the burritos with the tortilla in there. I worried about the tortillas along with the green chili cheese bake. When we use tortillas, how do those freeze? And they have frozen and reconstituted just absolutely fine. Pasta works well. To cook and then make a meal and then freeze that meal and thaw it, and it turns out just fine as well. Things like zucchini and tomatoes in our primavera, those have frozen just fine. And so I'm very pleased with this idea of having these meals. Not all of our meals for level 1 are going to be the make and freeze type meals. I went out and counted, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, just how many meals we have in our freezer that we can pull out, not the ingredients for meals, but the actual meals. And right now we have enough for about between 30 and 35 days of thawing things like these enough for us. And then for the other 30 days, we have ingredients, individual ingredients, frozen or in our refrigerator or in our pantry so that we can make other meals for us. So this is a report on so far how we're doing with thawing and eating our frozen meals and how they are working out with our level 1 storage. I hope this is useful to you. I hope that you are also working on 60 days of meals. If the grid were to go down or if other calamities were to happen that required us to live on the food that we have stored for a few days to a few weeks, it would be so, it would give us so much peace to have these meals ready to go. The simplest meals that are ready to go are just eating directly out of a can. Pork and beans out of a can. Open the can, use a spoon, have your dinner. And so the next best thing from my perspective is to have other meals that are already cooked that we could, if necessary, could we eat beans and pasta or our Louisiana red beans and rice cold? Sure we could. But it's nice also to have ways that we could heat them up as well, which we do. And we are going to be doing a video in a few weeks on how we will use our Bluetti solar batteries, our solar storage units. What are those called, Jim?
Solar batteries.
Our solar batteries, power storage.
Power units.
Solar
power units.
Okay, our Bluetti solar power units, and how we will use those in case of the grid going down, and how we would use them for various appliances, including those to help us heat heat up our food. So thanks so much for being with us, and we just appreciate you so much. Share our videos with everyone else that you think might be interested to be prepared for these uncertain times in which we are living. So we will see you very soon for more videos.